there in a work environment, but I have with people that, were in more positions of management that I thought we were good friends. I always tell you,
Never.
the best advice that I didn't believe that I got was when I was hired on the Kane show. Kane said to me after 2 weeks, congrats, it's not show friends, it's show business. And I thought, oh no, no, I mean, we're friends. You're inviting me over to your house. You bought me a gift. You confide in me, right? And then like, no, when he didn't need me or when, he needed a scapegoat, I was it. Like that's, I understand they're hurt. I was hurt too for a long time, but I think when you can understand most of the time, people at your work are not your friends. Like,
and see, I don't think they're both. I think Nene is hurt because Nene told the story
very much. Yeah.
and she told the story of, and I understood it of like, when I used to text Andy Cohen, and now to talk to Andy, I have to text an assistant, to text the mother, to text. So I understand.
Yes, I get it.
He grew up in the company. So I do think she's hurt. And I would feel the same way. Like if all of a sudden it was like, wait, I'm doing 2 shows a week with Sarah fucking Fraser, and now I have to text her assistant, to text her husband, to text her. Like when you get your show, Sarah, and move on, and I'm going to be like, tell Sarah that she can buy knee pads and suck my dick. Okay. Pregnant or not pregnant, she can suck my fucking dick. I'm not texting an assistant to talk to Sarah Fraser. So Sarah Fraser's out of the Behind the Velvet Rope show, or she can fucking text me back directly. So I understand it. Granted, if you ran a whole network and you're like, dear, your salary is either 1.2 million and you'll text my assistant or you'll fuck off, I would text your assistant. But so I think Nene's hurt. I truly believe, I can't help it. Right. I truly believe that Bethenny Frankel wants to be, and I'm not saying I don't like her. I believe Nene is hurt, and I believe Bethenny is not hurt. I believe Bethenny Frankel wants to be the richest, most powerful public figure associated with Housewives. Not Francis, who runs NBC, not the people that are behind the scenes that nobody knows. And the only person standing in her way of success and $120 million and selling a company, is Andy Cohen. That's it. I think to her, he is the most successful, richest, and I don't even think he's richer than her. I think they're pretty equal. But I think that she is jealous of Andy because he is the number one dog that is famous from this. And I think she wants to be. That's what I think. And I think she wants to take him down. I can't help that feeling. That's what I feel. Your mouth is open. Yeah. Your mouth is open. I gotcha. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree.
You actually, and you made a good point. Like, I think you're right. I want to take it back because, like I said, when you work with people, they're not your friends. A lot of times we meet lifelong friends. I'm saying, I think with what their dynamic was, right, is like he was sort of their boss, but also like this on-air figure. So that was like murky. And, I agree with your point that they did think that they were actually friends with Andy, and Andy all along, or maybe just, he started out friends with them, but then as he got more responsibility, doesn't that happen all the time in corporate? Come on, you've worked for Martha Stewart and everything. Like the higher you get for a job, they're like, well, don't talk to that employee. Don't, you're no longer, now you're a manager, you're an executive producer. So you shouldn't be giving them, heads up about that. I get it. Yes. I think Nene is so talented. It's just like, I feel like it's so sad. Like, I think she's so lost since Greg. I don't know what her management is like, and maybe she doesn't listen. Maybe they tell her everything we're saying, but she just seems so lost, so talented. And it's like, I don't know if she's that woman that can she start her own podcast? Because she's waiting for someone to give her a podcast, but it's like, it doesn't really work like that anymore. You have to start.
Well, someone will give her.
Mark Maron, Mark Maron's another guy. Everybody knows Mark Maron's podcast. Mark Maron couldn't hardly work for years. He couldn't get a break.
He was in the brilliant Glow on NBC.
Yeah, but that's after he resurrected, he started his podcast, and that went on and popping. There's a lot of people in Hollywood that have lost it all or thought they were on the trajectory to fame. It didn't happen. And it's like, you've got to pull yourself up from your bootstraps and start it. And I just don't know if she's,
who did that? I can't believe I'm giving her a shout out. She's still not over it. And that's probably what's responsible for most of her adult issues. But the other one, that comedian woman, that Juicy scoop up. I mean, I think she still has a chip on her shoulder. She was fired by Chelsea Handler. I don't think she's over that, but she, went out, and Juicy Scoop is a real thing, guys. So, I mean,
her stand-up comedy tour.
So she, Heather Polk found it. Now, I don't think she's over that. She should be over that. You got a great podcast. You're making money, girl. Just ride it out. But I agree with you. Well,
but
a couple of
this
things.
Is like the last thing. Okay.
Well, I was just going to say, I predict. Now, it's just like the network. I told you now, everyone's going to be saying, David, what major housewife approached you? That's not the point. But like, it's just like, and I'm not going to go it. I'm going to pass. But I am predicting that Nene will have a podcast. Now, I know what you're going to say. Like, it's a fine line. If she, first of all, anyone could have a podcast, but no one hands you money. I mean, you and I make a bunch of money here because we have earned it. Like, no one's giving us money. We've earned the money. So Nene, that's the problem. Like when Vicky had a podcast, I've said this before, I'm not revealing anything. I mean, I'm not friends with Vicky. I'll reveal everything. I don't care. I mean, Vicky used to call me for advice on how to make her podcast successful. Like if I could clone myself, I even suggested I should just be Vicky's co-host on Whoop It Up way back, because I can make this podcast. I mean, that was 10 years ago. But so that Vicky was like, I don't understand where the money is. Well, Vicky, you have to earn the money. Like Teddy and Tamara have. So Nene could have a podcast. She could have a podcast. The deal is that Nene will get $0 on her first day. She will get $0 on her second day. And the second week, if we have numbers there, we'll put those in the bank. You still can't make money. You got to have like 2 or 3 months of consistent numbers. And then she'll make some money, very little. And then it will grow into the empire that David and Sarah have, and Teddy and Tamara and all these others. So I predict she might have a podcast, but she has to behave herself. She has to show up. She can't, there's no money. And that's not a microaggression. Before everyone says that, I said the same thing to Vicky. I'm like, girl, there is no money until you actually have huge ratings. So I predict somebody will look at if Nene and Carlos.
But why haven't they yet if they were going to? I mean, now the market's so saturated.
Well, that's the thing. Is Nene too difficult to work with? Even for a podcast, I don't know. And by the way, it's no microaggression. I can give you lots and lots and lots of housewives, like the one that I'm not interested in working with, that are difficult. Like a lot of them are difficult. Yeah, it's not TV. There's no $1 million to show up and have a drink, and it's hard work to do housewives, but you have to show up, and if it's a huge success, she'll make the money. I mean, listen, if Nene and Carlos did a morning after, we'll have to wait till Atlanta's on.
Genius idea.
But I mean, pick a different. I mean, I guess it's kind of what Teddy and Tamara do, but not really. Why not just recap Atlanta the day after? I mean, and then do it for Potomac, and do it for Miami. Pick one show at a time. I mean, all you have to do is watch the show and talk. I mean, Nene would be great at that, but yes, you can't be difficult. You have to just take no money until you earn it. So that's where I don't know. That's where I don't know if she can do that. I don't know. I mean, it's not against her. Bethenny can't do. I mean, even Bethenny didn't make any money on these podcasts in the beginning. She had to grow it into